Lebanon just devalued its currency by 90%. According to the central bank chief, Lebanon is adopting a new official exchange rate of 15,000 pounds per US dollar. This is a 90% devaluation from its current official rate that remained unchanged for 25 years. But hold up, this is a devaluation from the current official rate. So is there anything actually changing here? Unfortunately, no. The official rate changing from 1507 per dollar to 15,000 per dollar is nowhere near the current free market rate of 57,000 per dollar. Now, what's going on in Lebanon right now is unfortunately a very, very classic example of what happens throughout hyperinflation. The exact same things play out time and time again throughout history every time a government and a central bank destroy the value of their currency by printing in order to try and solve their problems. The same thing is happening in Turkey, it happened in Argentina, happened in Venezuela, it happened in Zimbabwe. The same exact course of events pretty much plays out fairly predictably. And one of these things that is common everywhere is parallel or black markets. Number one, you have people just automatically, just organically choosing to use other forms of money that serve them better. In the case of Lebanon, that's going to be euros, that's going to be dollars. They are going to use other forms of currency that are somewhat accessible, that hold their purchasing power way better than their government's currency. So in terms of signs of hyperinflation coming, that's one of the biggest signs that your currency is about to collapse. When you go to the grocery store and they don't want to accept dollars anymore and they're trying to accept Bitcoin, they're trying to accept gold, they're trying to accept something else like the yen or the won or the ruble, that is a sign that hyperinflation is going to end the value of your currency when the population just doesn't want it anymore. Obviously, that is not happening anywhere in the United States right now, but that would be a sign that a hyperinflationary collapse of the currency is coming soon. Most of the inflation would have already happened, but the end of the use of that currency would be coming soon. Now, the population themselves just automatically and organically choosing to use other currencies when and where they can is sign number one. But sign number two is parallel or black markets, meaning the official price of, or the official value of the government's currency is not reflected in the free market, in the day-to-day exchange that people use. And this is exactly what's been going on in Lebanon for a little over 3 years now, that the central bank has clung to the official old rate of 1507, when right now the real rate is 57,000. As a result of this official rate, them still clinging on to hope that they could ever come back to some semblance of normalcy with the value of their currency, has meant that banks have had to impose their own capital controls on their people and not allow people to withdraw their money. My buddy who lives in Lebanon told me that this has resulted in people literally having to rob the banks just to withdraw their own money. So it's not like people going robbing the banks and, trying to get rich from it and, get millions of dollars or whatever. It's literally people robbing the banks just to get, the $10,000 that they actually deposited with the bank in the first place. The reason for this change is because of the agreement that Lebanon has with the IMF that will get them their $3 billion bailout. Given the track record and the history that the IMF has with bailouts and helping developing nations and really enslaving them in debt to rich countries, I would not be betting on the fact that this bailout will be any different. Now, I don't live in Lebanon myself, obviously, and I do not claim to be an expert on their political situation or anything like that. Many people will say this is not the problem of the money, this is not the problem of the system, this is a problem of corruption, this is a problem of people at the highest levels not doing what they said they were going to do, and political instability. And what I always point to is the fact that these things always happen when the money is destroyed, when the money is corrupted. Correlation, causation, absolutely. We could debate that all day. But one thing is certain is that these things do tend to go together. And my theory, which seems to have a decent amount of evidence to support it, is that a sound money is a leash on government evil. Because when you or I make bad decisions with our money, we end up running out of that money and we don't make more of it. When we spend our money on things we shouldn't spend our money on, and when we make investments in things that do not end up being profitable, we run out of those resources to continue to waste. With governments, it's a different story. At least with fiat currency, governments do not have a leash on that spending, and so they continually turn to unlimited purchasing power to try and solve all their problems. But with sound money, there would be an end to that spending, just like for you and I. And when they made an investment or spent their money on something that isn't helpful, the results of that would be apparent and the funding would shut off. And lastly, if you would like to take Lebanon as a cautionary tale and as something that you can look at and say, what lessons do I need to personally take away from what's going on there so I can better prepare myself so that I'm not subject to suffering like many Lebanese people have to today. One thing that's absolutely certain is anybody who diversified their savings is much better off today than those that did not do that. Meaning the people who kept all of their savings in the Lebanese pound are the ones who got it all erased. The ones who diversified their savings into even other currencies like the dollar, much better off. Anybody who owned gold can go sell that gold, still in Lebanon. Anybody who owned Bitcoin can sell that Bitcoin. It is much harder as a Lebanese person today to get your hands on dollars now that it's all blown up. Moral of the story is it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Because by the time everybody realizes, hey, we need to go buy these other currencies, we need to go put our savings in other vehicles, it's likely too late. As always, really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.